Summer 1212. The high plains of Andalusia shimmered under the scorching sun as two civilizations prepared to collide in what would become one of history's most decisive battles. To the north stood the united Christian kingdoms. Pope Innocent III had called for a crusade, and they had answered. King Alfonso VIII of Castile commanded the center. King Peter II of Aragon held the right flank. King Sancho IV of Navarre anchored the left. Behind them rode the legendary Knights Templar and Hospitallers, Portuguese contingents, and French crusaders drawn by papal promises. Together, they fielded roughly 20,000 to 25,000 men, outnumbered but determined. Facing them was the most formidable army the Iberian Peninsula had seen in generations. Caliph Muhammad al-Nasir of the Almohad Caliphate had assembled 30,000 to 35,000 warriors. His Berber dynasty controlled vast territories across Andalusia and North Africa, and he intended to crush the Christian advance once and for all. His army was brilliantly positioned, trenches dug deep, elite troops fortified on elevated terrain, and at the very center, his personal guard of African warriors literally chained together so none could flee. For days, the armies stared at each other across that blood-soaked plain. Then, on the morning of July 16th, Alfonso gave the order. The Christians surged forward. At the vanguard, heavy infantry armed with long spears, axes, and lances crashed into the Muslim front lines with terrifying violence. The Muslim light infantry hadn't expected such a reckless, all-out charge. Panic rippled through their ranks. Christian chroniclers would later write that their men fought as if not just their lives, but their very homeland hung in the balance. The Muslim front line shattered, soldiers fleeing toward their second defensive position. But the Christians didn't pursue. They regrouped, eyes fixed on the real challenge ahead. The heavier Muslim forces dug in on higher ground, protected by trenches. The second charge was different. As Christian forces surged uphill, the experienced Muslim defenders absorbed the attack. The fighting became brutal, toe-to-toe combat where neither side gained advantage. Then, fatigue set in. The Christians had charged twice across difficult terrain in blazing heat. Their momentum stalled. The Muslims pushed back hard, and suddenly it was the Christians backpedaling, their center threatening to break entirely. King Alfonso saw his army beginning to crumble. In that critical moment, he made a decision that would define the battle. He personally charged into the front lines with his elite heavy cavalry. His presence alone stopped the retreat. Men who were ready to flee found their courage renewed. The center held. The Muslims committed their cavalry to finish the Christians off, but this was their fatal miscalculation. The Christian heavy cavalry, armored from head to toe and led by the feared Templars and Hospitallers, crashed into the lighter Arab horsemen like a steel wave. These were warriors whose reputation had been forged in decades of crusading warfare. The three Christian kings rode up and down the lines, shouting encouragement, their banners flying high. Alfonso's Knights of Santiago and Calatrava carved through the Muslim center. The lighter Muslim cavalry couldn't stand against the armored Christian charge. Then Sancho of Navarre led the decisive blow, his heavy cavalry smashing completely through the Muslim position, leaving devastation in their wake. The Christian advance drove relentlessly toward the Caliph's pavilion. Even the chained guards, unable to retreat, were cut down where they stood. Muhammad al-Nasir saw his army disintegrating around him and made the only choice left. He fled the field. What followed was a slaughter. The Christians took almost no prisoners that afternoon. By evening, the plains of Las Navas de Tolosa were carpeted with bodies. Modern estimates suggest 20,000 Muslim dead against only 2,000 Christian casualties. The Almohad Caliphate never recovered. Within decades, Muslim power in Iberia fragmented, never again posing the unified threat it once had. For Christians across Europe, Las Navas de Tolosa was celebrated as a divine triumph, the turning point of the Reconquista. For the Almohads, it marked the beginning of the end. One battle, one scorching summer day, and the course of European history was changed forever.